Okay. All right, everybody. You're being so kind. Thanks for the cupcakes. They were delicious. They were good. I just had to say that. All right. So we ended up putting our group together kind of at the last second. That's why there's only 2 of us. We're welcoming other people, but everyone seemed to be established in their groups. So how do you pronounce this again?
Cuidando.
I'm not good at pronouncing it.
Cuidando los niños.
Cuidando los niños. That translates to?
I'm pretty sure it translates to care for the children.
Yes.
Pretty sure.
We get some nods here from the people who know the language. That's good.
You got it right? Yes.
That was all her, not me. All right. So we're going to start by telling you what CLN is. That's what I call it because it's easier. It's kind of a long name too. So CLN, they work with helping the children experiencing homeless. Now there's a variety of ways they do this. It's kind of crazy because you think that, well, you have children that need to be taken care of. Let's take care of the children. But this program really extends a lot further.
Well, the reason that they started Cuidando los Niños was because there is a big problem with homelessness in New Mexico, of course. And there are people out there that are homeless but also have children. And what they would do if they needed to go out and find a job, try to get an interview for a job, they would have to leave their children somewhere and just kind of hope that the kids would be okay. And this would vary from, a playground or a park or maybe even waiting on someone's porch step or leaving with somebody that they trust. So they really saw a problem there and they decided to start a solution for it. It started off as free daycare, but then it started to develop and it became this amazing program that they have today. It went from just being a place for the kids to be to turn into kind of like a preschool sort of environment where the kids are there and they're taken care of and they're fed and everything, but they're also learning. So there are teachers there and it's basically getting them ready to start school. And in order to get into this program, well, you obviously have to be homeless with children. And in order to stay in the program, for your children to be able to stay, being able to go to Cuidando los Niños, you have to be making some progress, and that can vary from, finding a job to quitting addictions to finding a place to live. So you have to be actually working to better yourself for your life and your children's life in order for your children to keep going to Cuidando los Niños.
There's a variety of ages as well. It starts from when they're just little guys, like babies being rocked around and still need a big spoon fed, to preschool. So, and everything in between too. We both had different experiences.
5 weeks to 5 years.
Yeah, that's interesting. 5 weeks to 5 years. How? I just like when numbers match up. Feels nice. So these services also extend to the parents. Now, this is what kind of awed both of us. Was these services? You think, like I said, you just take care of the kids. It doesn't even stop there. They really make sure they go the extra mile. And for the parents, there's actually an onboard doctor, not just like a nurse or anything, but an actual MD and a psychologist as well. 7 years of education here, and this is just for a daycare. And the psychologist is there because homelessness can be a stressful thing for the parents as well. So this is something, it's an all-around process. They help the parents as well, like she said. They need to be helped.
They have to be willing to help themselves.
Yeah, and I think it's just a really great system, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it later. So this is their mission statement. Just going to read it out here. To provide high quality early childhood development and therapeutic services to meet the unique needs of children experiencing homelessness, to support services that assist their families to become rehoused and stronger, to be a community leader and advocate for social change and child homelessness in all of our communities statewide. And they display this right out the front when you walk in. There's a big thing there that just says it, so you can't miss it. Very
You know right
popular.
away.
So our first days, we had very similar experiences with the first days. I believe you worked with Maria, yeah?
Yes, when I first went, I talked to Maria Grundy first, the volunteer coordinator, and she sat me down and we went through about a, 15-20 minute orientation, which was more like basically understanding each other, making sure I understood my place here and what was okay, what was definitely not okay. And the 2 things that struck out to me the most, one, I was not allowed to be left alone in the kitchen, because apparently they've had problems before. Some of the kitchen equipment is very top of the line. And I I was not allowed to be left alone with a child, and the same went for Jonathan. Anyone new that came in, they were not allowed to be left alone with a child, or you had to be cited and they had to report it. And Maria Grundy did say, you know, even if it's an obviously completely innocent situation, it has to be reported. So that was a key factor.
They have to make sure that the children are safe first. And if you notice these pictures, they'll be absent of children. I actually went in on a day where there was no one in there. They let me in and take pictures. So I wasn't allowed to photograph any children for these pictures.
No children we weren't allowed to photograph any of the children to kind of protect their identity.
I was actually going to do some more of the computer work for the data entry because they mentioned they needed that. That's something I have some experience in. And Dan saying, well, we're sorry about that, but this is personal information, and you know it's not really that a volunteer is able to look at that. So they're very serious about the child safety. My first day was with someone else. Her name was Shannon Gibby, and she was really silly, but that was kind of nice because you kind of go into these situations thinking, oh, what am I going to do? Are they going to be serious? And she was just very lighthearted, and that's something about dealing with people. You know, I was a little nervous going to a new environment or working with children because, you know, in some ways it's a little more nerve-wracking when you know that if you make a mistake, well, someone could get hurt. And I haven't had much experience with childcare. But they put me in a place that was really good, and I think that's part of the service learning too, going where your strengths are, but still being able to mold and go in a direction that you need to go, which is something we'll be talking about as well later. Things that we both did. We both kind of migrated towards certain roles, so it was definitely a good thing to learn here in class. That thing doesn't work. It's not. All right, well, we both had very different experiences here. I'm going to talk some about mine here to start. I'm not going to hog, I'm not a hog right now. So, like I said, we both had different roles. We both gravitated towards different things. I've had work with kitchen, no surprise, right? But I was good at cutting things up, and you can tell that some of these people who worked in the kitchen, they were actually the teachers who just kind of went to the kitchen. You know, you don't really need like a full-time person on board. So usually they would come in, do the work, and that's where they ended up putting me most of the time. I would come in for the breakfast, to clean up stuff in the kitchen, and yeah, I had good experience with this, so they stuck me where I needed to go. It was really clever of them. You could just tell though, there wasn't, they would fill in the positions, you know, there wasn't exactly, they were professional per se. Like one thing in kitchens, I don't know how many people cook, but if you ever have pots, and you have the handle sticking out from the stove, like if this is the stove, you have the handle hooking out here, that's an accident waiting to happen. And there's little things like that. And some people also donate food as well, and then you'd have to cook that, put it in the oven, or do whatever they need to do to make sure the children work. I also worked a bit with the children, not as much as Kayla here did, because I mostly served the children the food. And it was good that they put me in a role. Like I can't stress that enough. If they made me like sit in the infant room and feed the babies and rock them to sleep, that's not my thing. I would have done it, but that's not my thing.
Wasn't my thing at first either.
You seem like more of a natural to it, maybe.
Talk about that later.
Yeah, so it's definitely good to be flexible in your roles. And a bit like Denise has taught us, make sure that you go the extra mile for the things. I made a suggestion to them. This is just one thing. But I made a suggestion. The toddlers, we gave them a big piece of pizza because they donated like 4 or 5 pizzas. That's a lot. So the preschool kids got a slice. We separated the portions. But whenever we gave the toddlers the pizza, they were holding it like this. You know, it was a huge pizza. And we're like, oh, I think maybe we should portion it different. Maybe chop these up into smaller pieces. So I ended up doing that. And just little touches like that, I think, is what show not only volunteering towards children who, well, let's face it, they probably don't really care either way, but in like service, any sort of thing, that's just a skill. I thought, well, it's good to go the extra mile to make things, put that little love in there, you know? And
Alright, I worked in some kitchen duty, as did Jonathan, but the way mine would be, I would come in the morning or in the noon, and I'd start in the kitchen and help prep lunch or breakfast or whatever, get that out there. But then after that, I'd have people coming out and say, hey, Kayla, can you go work with the babies, or can you go work with the toddlers real quick, or can you go work with the preschoolers?
John, can I go lift this up?
Exactly.
There's a
Well,
lot
the
of
way
that.
it worked, they obviously really needed people, because we'd be doing one thing, and then someone would come in and say, hey, can you please go do this over here? And then 2 minutes later, can you go to this room over here? So they really did need people.
Yeah, they did.
And then when they first asked me to go work with the babies, I thought, you know, great, little crying, screaming, spitting, pooping the machines. I thought, okay, kids aren't my thing, but I guess I'll try. And I ended up begging going back to the babies' room, because I thought, okay, they're the babies, they're gonna be the noisiest, it's gonna be the hardest. Then I spent a day in the toddler's room and I begged to go back to the baby's room.
A big difference, surprisingly.
Oh,
Huge.
I thought that the babies would be the noisiest, but then you go to the toddlers and the preschoolers and you go to the baby's room and it's honestly just pure silence.
It's serene and peaceful. And they have this little music going on.
I fell asleep more than the babies did. I had a lot of fun with it. At first I was kind of awkward with the kids because, you know, when we're crying, I just kind of, I kid you not, I would literally just stare at it and look at someone like, what do I do? I had no idea how to take care of kids. I knew how to take care of older kids from babysitting, but I had no idea what to do with, you know, one that wouldn't walk yet. So that was hard for me to learn, but I actually became very good at it. And I even had a woman say on the first day, because I was playing with the kid, and I probably looked extremely silly doing this, but I had a woman actually say to Maria when she came to check on me, she looked at Maria and said, you know what, I like this one, let's keep her. So I thought, wow, what do you know? I actually know what I'm doing. Cool. Yeah. And it was cute working with the preschoolers because, you know, first they're running around, and then I'm guessing she was about 3 or 4, she came up to me, she looked up at me, and she said, you're new. And I said, yeah. And she's like, there's this toy over there, that's really cool. And this is where we go eat and stuff. And I had a 3 or 4-year-old kind of show me around. It was fun. And I literally left every day covered in baby food and who knows what. But it was fun. And I actually learned that I like kids. I mean, who's done it?
I never minded kids, and I thought I disliked them, but I realized they're not so bad once you kind of hang around already. There was one who came up to me, and she would always show me the toys and show me how they worked, and we just kind of mess around with them for a minute, and then she'd go run off. It was kind of heartwarming, like just that pure level of innocence that I'm not really exposed to in my day-to-day life. You know, I come to school, go to work, go home. It was really refreshing, something new. Taking risks, Denise, I remember. Talked about that. My first choice was not to work with children. These are just a few little pictures. This is their kitchen. This is the playground.
This is one of the rooms I worked in. This was the toddler's room that I eventually started begging to get out of.
I have spent most of my time here, and she says that.
I worked in the baby's room, but Jonathan didn't get a picture of the baby's room because there were babies in there. And
some of the doors were locked as well. The babies couldn't make the trip. They're out in the zoo that day, so the babies couldn't make the trip. The zoo trip was, I don't remember the name, but someone basically said, here's money, take the kids to the zoo. That's nice. Isn't that nice? These people can just donate food or donate these trips to the kids. And then they needed me to lift up stuff, even though I was done with my service hours, which I don't mind. I'm not complaining. But yeah, they're like, we need you to lift some of this stuff up. So yeah, it was still helped that day, took the pictures. So something we wanted to cover was our opinions on this whole issue, because it's a very powerful program. Like I'm sure many of us think that our programs are. We kind of go into it, but like Art said, it's an assignment, we're gonna do it. But once you realize that these are people who are like really making differences, you know? And some of our opinions here, Kaylee.
Okay, both of us just went in just so surprised on just the extent of the services they give, because we thought, okay, it's a daycare place for homeless kids, all right, but just how great this program is and how much they do to help not just the kids, but the parents. I mean, how many daycare centers do you know where they actually help the parents too, honestly? So that was just...
It's a nonprofit.
And it's nonprofit. Add that little crown on there. But
tax write-off.
There you go.
More people should do this. It's good. It's so good. That's what we wanted to say, because we just wanted to say how good this is. Why aren't there more programs like this? I mean, like she mentioned, Maria, she said there's the tax write-offs and stuff, and these people have the donations. There's all this stuff that's just good. And then these homeless people, like Kaylee said here, they actually have to be bettering themselves to do this. So they're going out, they have programs where they give them clothes in case they need to look nice for the interviews, a place for their children to go. And it's really, really good. And here, this is something she wants right here, the teach them to fish.
Yes, teach them how to fish. Yeah, Juliana, how do you, sorry.
Thank you,
Sorry.
appreciate it.
Alright, you teach a man to fish and, wait. Alright, give a man a fish and he's fed for the day, but you teach a man to fish and he's fed for life. And this is what this program honestly is. You can either watch a kid for a day and help them for one day, or you can watch the kids for as long as they need to and have the parents improve as well. There's no downside to this program at all. I went going in and thought, okay, well, every program has a downside to it, and I'm looking around and I can't find a single fault, and I'm usually the pessimist. So if I can't find a single thing wrong.
Me too, I'm really, you all probably know from my occasional objections of discussions, different opinions of Denise's, that I too am a pessimist, but this is really great, you know? And well, that's the end of our presentation here.
Where is this?
Oh,
Cuidando los Niños, it's on Broadway and Walter. If you go down
We're looking.
west on Broadway,
yeah, West.
west on Central, take a left on Broadway. Did
Yeah,
you take the bus or a car? 'Cause
I took the car.
okay, you probably took a different route.
Yeah.
It's near downtown. It's probably like, what, 2 blocks away from here?
Yeah.
Literally, I could walk to class.
By the way, our presentation is done, whoever's timing, it was done about 20 seconds